Hey, this is Amanda from The Fundamental Home, and I'm here with today's part 2 of our Q&A, and you can hear Tatey. He's playing in the background. I don't even know what he has. He's playing with a pair of scissors. I should probably get those. Brianna has him out here to cut yarn because he likes to play with yarn, so I'm going to take those inside. But anyway, today my questions are on our household and how they run. And I'm going to just go ahead and start answering the questions. I have a lot less than yesterday, so you'll know this one should run a little bit quicker. First question is, what's your favorite household item? I literally walked around my house this morning and I started looking around, and there are a couple big items that I really love. I really love our piano because Brian plays. He's not proficient, but he plays quite well, and I just love hearing Brian play the piano. He doesn't do it as much lately because he's been busy with working and going to school, so I told him I'm looking forward to when he's done with school and then he can play the piano more. But I also really love my china cabinet, which also has to do with Brian. Brian bought me my china cabinet. I was looking forever for a china cabinet. I was looking on Craigslist, and I was looking at thrift stores, and I was looking everywhere for one. And we went to a little kind of off-the-wall thrift store and found one. And the lowest prices I could find on Craigslist were like $300, and they were nice, and I thought that was a good deal. We got our china cabinet for $90 at this little off-the-wall thrift store. It is beautiful. I can't show you what it looks like because my house is so dark on that. We're in that dining room area. We just don't have those fancy studio lights that some people have. So I could take the camera in there, but you really can't see it. So just trust me, it looks good. I love the china cabinet, partially because I collect china, and what I really collect, what I really love, I have this weird fascination with two things. Well, three things. First of all, napkin rings. I love napkin rings. I don't know why, but if I find nice sets at thrift stores, I always buy this set. They make me happy. Not that I'm fancy and have big napkin dinners all the time, but I just love napkin rings. And I also like napkins. I like nice cloth napkins, and if I find those in sets, or any kind of table linens, really, I love table linens. I just think they're so pretty. And then the third thing that I collect that I really don't have much of is, are butter molds. I just love butter molds. I think they're so pretty. So those are the things that I collect. I have them in my china cabinet, and I also have, collections of different china that I found at thrift stores that I like, particularly for one reason or another. And I keep thinking that I have these different sets, and I'm not buying any more right now. I'm fasting from collecting china. But the ones that I have, I think when the kids leave, I'm gonna offer them their choice of whichever one. If they'd like, they may not want it, that's fine. If not, I'll keep it because I like it. But they might want it, So anyway, that's two of my favorite household things. But then I was looking at the, I was thinking, well, if it was like a fire, what would you leave and take with you? And I'm looking around and I'm thinking, I wouldn't take any of that. I wouldn't take any of that. That's all replaceable. And what I finally settled on was pretty cliche, but it's my Bible. It's cliche, but it is the one thing that I would save if we were in a fire. I figured I'd show it to you though. This is my Bible. It's leather. My husband got it for me one year. I had thrift store Bibles for the longest time, and I was waiting to get a really nice one. Like, I wanted a nice one, and I told him I wanted a black leather one, and I wanted it with the wide margins. And he came home. My birthday and my anniversary are next to each other. The days are close together. And so he said he got me a gift, and then he said, I got you a Bible. And I was like, did you find the one I want? And he went, well, and I was like, Rick, I've waited so long for a Bible. I can't believe you bought me one. You didn't get the one that I wanted. And he was like, well, it's close. And I'm like, but I don't want close. I want the exact one I want. That's why I've waited. Because I waited for, we're talking like 10 years I waited and just had thrift store Bibles. And after I said all that, he said, well, would you at least look at it and, tell me what you think? So he showed me this. And the only difference was that it's kind of the burgundy leather. And then I had to eat my words because I really liked it. It was nice. It was such a nice gift. I don't know why I was so unappreciative. He must have just caught me on a bad day or something, but I felt really bad. Really bad. But it does have the wide margin. I figured I'd show you. I like the wide margin because you can keep notes on the side. And a friend of mine I won't show you all my notes. But a friend of mine showed me how in their Bible they put pictures up. I don't know if you can see that picture of the crown. And it helped them remember where passages were. And I have found that to be the case. I have found that certain passages I can, you know, just if I think of the picture, then I can think of where something is located. Do you know what I mean? Like in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure I have, not that I'd need to figure out where it is, but yeah, I was going to say the first chapter of Genesis, I have, you know, all the pretty pictures to represent each of the days. So, I mean, things like that I just have throughout my Bible, so I really like that. When you're talking about favorite household item, if you're talking about like most useful kitchen item, I definitely would have to pick my food processor, because I could actually I have a KitchenAid mixer. My sister got me my KitchenAid mixer. She's a wonderful person. She actually had, I think she got it on eBay, and it needed a little work. It was missing some things, and she took care of all that and got a great deal on it, because she is a bargain hunter like I am. We are bargain hunting people. But I really like it, but I could do without it. You know, I didn't have one for a lot of years. But the food processor I use for soups and things all the time. And if my food processor breaks, it is very stressful to me. So, and I've broken them a time or two. So I'll link you in the description box an affiliate link to the food processor that I have, that I've gotten before, you know, to break eventually. But anyway, I really like it. It's not an expensive one. I'm gonna put it down there. If you want to take a look at it, you can. What are your favorite cleaners, and do you make cleaners? I do make cleaners, but I don't have like specific formulas and things. I pretty much just use baking soda, vinegar, and lemon juice. And I kind of, you know, for different things that you're cleaning, you use different things or different combinations of things. And so those are my pretty basic ones. I don't keep like containers pre-mixed. Just if I'm going to clean something, I will make whatever for whatever it is I'm cleaning. So that's just how I do that. But as far as store-bought cleaners, generally speaking, we only have like Comet, and we also have like spray bleach cleaners. Occasionally, the bugs are really loud. Is it just me? Occasionally, we will get some bleach wipes. If like if we had the flu in the house, we will bleach wipe everything down. But we don't do that all the time. That's just for specific occasions, but that's pretty much it. I mean, we really don't keep very much in terms of store-bought cleaners in the house, because we prefer to keep things natural if we can. Do you organize, and how? Okay. Do I organize? I am organized. So I don't know that I organize. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just naturally organized. And so I don't actually, most of the time I really don't have to take the time to organize things. When I have something, I organize it. And I just keep it organized. So it's not like a process. I don't have to do KonMari or whatever it is. You know, I just pretty much stay organized. The one issue that I have with organization is I always have a stack of papers, and I let it get so big, and it sits on top of my filing cabinet. And when it gets so big, I will actually put them in the filing cabinet files and put them in there. But other than that, I pretty much keep things organized in my household. I get really stressed when people put away the dishes and put them in the wrong spot. And they do now. I don't know why. It's like, we've had the dishes in the same spot forever. But they do. But I mean, like, my closets are pretty organized. I mean, they're not picture perfect or anything. I don't have any fancy organizers, because you know me, I'm a simple person. So, but I mean, everything is folded neatly and nicely and pretty where it needs to be. So I don't use a system, but I do keep organized, but I just do it regularly. I will say this though, I think people were asking, when you say, are you organized? How do you stay organized? That sort of thing. I have a blog post that I'm gonna link in the description box. And it's called Throw Away Your Chore Charts. And it's about how we keep our house clean. So if you are interested in reading that, you can go to that link and check that out. But that's all I have to say about organization for now. I would like to add some projects just to make things prettier, but I don't need to improve my organization, I don't think. What does your day look like? Do you stay home a lot, and do you do it on purpose? I wish I stayed home more. Oh my soul, I am so busy running around. My biggest thing that interrupts my day, and I'm trying not to see it as an interruption, but for now it's just the hardest part of my day, is that I'm driving the boys back and forth everywhere they have to go. And it just has to be that way for right now. Both boys work and are in college, and neither of them drive. And Rick and I had talked about the whole driving situation. First of all, Brian wasn't comfortable driving and didn't have the time to really focus on it while he was working full-time and going to college full-time. So Rick and I were both 19 when we got our driver's license, and Brian is only 19 now. So we weren't really stressed when he was waiting till 19, but it seems like the older he gets, the more stressed I am. I'm like, you need to get your license. But at first it wasn't a big deal because it wasn't any different. You know, we'd not had a child drive, so it hasn't really changed anything. But now I can kind of feel the pressure that they're really getting this independence, and like they need to have it. They need to just take it and run. Not too far, but anyway, so yeah, they don't drive. So my day really, what does it look like? I get up most mornings early. Rick goes to work between 3:30 and 4:30, and so I'm usually up about 4, 5, 6 or 7 at the latest. I'm usually up pretty early, and those are the times of day where I'm getting most of my tasks done. Brianna and I, when it's homeschool time, we have a system right now where she and I do our chores and our tasks around the house, and because I get up at 5, I'll try to get all that done by 9:30, and then she and I will start homeschool at 9:30, and we do that till about 12:30, and we'll see where we are at that point. A lot of days she's done at that point. I mean, she's done all of her assignments, she's good. But if we get to 12:30 and she's not done, we'll pause, have lunch, and then get back to work. If not, we'll pause. Well, it's hard to really differentiate between homeschool time, because after lunch we do other homeschool related tasks. They're just not the book work, which if you homeschool, you know what I'm talking about. But part of Brianna's homeschool is her video production. That's something it's part of her homeschool curriculum. And so in the afternoons she's working on video production, which is technically part of her homeschool. It's just not something that's one of those standard subjects like English and math and history and science and all of that. That's morning hours. The afternoon hours are spent pursuing kind of elective courses, your art, your music, your PE, all of that other stuff. So in the afternoon she focuses on that. And one of the other questions I had was, do you homeschool one-on-one or do you do independent learning? And on that note, let me just add here that we do one-on-one and we also do independent learning. It just depends on the subject. You know, math, she's doing with me one-on-one. I love math. I originally, I think I mentioned yesterday, went to college for engineering, and I'm very comfortable with math and teaching math. So much so that I am uncomfortable with sitting her in front of a computer and having the computer do it, because control issues. But so I sit down with her and do math. We sit down and do English, and I'll link up here if you want to listen to the video about her test score. She did pretty well this year, and she's doing well in all of her subjects, so we're feeling pretty confident in all of that. But her other subjects, for the most part, she does a lot of that independently. We do reading together every day. She does literature on her own, and then we do out loud reading, which I've done with all of my kids, even when they were older, and I really think it's good. It's good to share those literature experiences with your children. So anyway, that's how I do the learning. Back to the schedule situation. Usually about 3 or so, that's when I'll start dinner, and the ideal is to have dinner done by 5:30ish. Lately that's not happening, and I'll tell you why. Because in between all of those hours, I'm usually driving boys back and forth. And it's about 20 minutes to town and 20 minutes back for each trip that I take to and from. And if their schedules are off, then I'm going back and forth like all day long. And if I have any errands to run, I do try to do it when I'm already out. But as often as I can, I will combine errands, because I want to be home. Like, I want to be home. I'm tired about being out running around. And I am a homebody. I always thought I wasn't, but I am. I like to be home. My husband, when he has a day off, he wants to go out and do something. I'm like, don't you ever want to stay home? And it's just not his thing. So on that note, oh, and we usually go to bed fairly early. It's changed over the years. We're trying for 10 o'clock. It doesn't always happen. But since Rick gets up so early and I get up so early, we really try to cut it off at 10 o'clock. And sometimes we take a nap in the afternoon. It just depends. Depends on the day. No, the days really don't look the same with us. His schedule changes every day. The boys' schedules change. So every day isn't the same. And we just make do with what we have. But that's the benefit of homeschooling, you know? The next question is, does being a homeschool mom strengthen your marriage? I think so. I mean, for us, I think, you know, I could ask Rick his opinion on this. And I'm going to say again, the bugs are so loud. I am sorry if it's like super loud on the camera, but for me it sounds loud. Anyway, I'd have to ask Rick about whether or not it strengthens our marriage. For me, I think it's been really good to have defined roles. I know that people take issue with that, but I think it's helpful to me because you know, separating these lines, this is your job and this is my job. And we help one another. Like if there's something that we can help one another with, Rick will jump in and do the dishes and I'll jump in and, you know, take the trash or whatever it is that he does. But the point is just for the most part, we know that the other person is responsible for this and there's no question. You know, we don't stress about it. It's just what it is. And my job is to take care of the household. And Rick does some things because he's decided he wants to do them. Like if you follow me on Facebook, you should already know that he vacuums every single night. He obsessively vacuums. He does not feel happy unless he vacuums the house before he goes to bed. Great. but what I'm saying is just for the most part, we have very specific roles and I think we're comfortable that way. When we were both working and we had to split everything and try to sort things out between one another, that was stressful. That caused tensions. But me being specifically in the home and being responsible for the home and him being specifically at work and being responsible for the work, that has really helped us to have some structure and have some firmness in what we're doing all the time. So I really think it has. I don't know. Last question. I saved the fun one for last. Rules for dating. Okay, rules for dating. We don't have any dating children right now, so I can't really speak from experience. I'll tell you what we hope for, what we're looking towards, but I don't know. I can't, like I said, I can't speak from experience. What our plan is to have quarters. And courting, if you don't know, is just kind of a different kind of dating, in that you're not just forming these emotional relationships with all kinds of different people. You look around and find someone that you think may in fact be a suitable marriage partner, and then when you feel that that's the case, you would then go to their family and see if that person, if their family would think that's a good idea in the future for a possibility, if the other person is interested in pursuing something like that, and if they are, then you have a time of courtship where you meet with one another and learn more about one another. All of this time not touching. Not touching. Keeping your hands to yourself and just trying to find out if you have an emotional bond before any physical bonds are formed. And so at that point, if you felt that this was something that you wanted to pursue long term, then you would get engaged. And at that point, at the point of your engagement, then the engaged couple would come together and create their own boundaries, probably alongside of their parents, and then they would discuss whether or not they felt comfortable with something like hand-holding during their engagement time. But again, the goal is to keep the physical bonds minimal, because engagements fall apart sometimes too, and you really don't want to have too much attachment there if it wasn't going to work out. And then ideally there would be marriage. And the goal would be to reach the day of marriage and have your first kiss, the very first kiss ever, saved for marriage. So that is the ideal in our mind. Believe it or not, we know lots of happily married couples that have actually started their relationship that way. When I was younger and when I went to public school, I totally did not believe that that existed. I really did not. But it does. And I was surprised when I entered this kind of Christian world where people actually did follow the Lord and save themselves. And our children have grown up around that. Where I grew up in a very different lifestyle, they've grown up in the church and around this more conservative lifestyle. And so they don't think it's weird. In fact, they kind of think it's weird when people are all over each other, you know? They really do. They really do. And the older they get, the more they've had the opportunity to see other teenagers their age who have practiced things in a way that's different than they do, and how much difficulty they've had as a result of that. You know, all the broken hearts, all of the different unfortunate situations that have arisen from relationships that have gone too far and then gone south. So the older they get, the more they see the wisdom in it. You know, Brian is very focused on, he's 19, he's very focused on getting his career ready, and he would like to purchase a home. And at that point, I think that he will consider more seriously marriage, or courting in preparation for marriage. But for the moment, I think that he is trying to do, Brian is the kind of person who likes to do things the right way. He's just that person. So this is, I think he's going in the right order. Maybe I've influenced them with quite a bit of Jane Austen. Maybe. But I think that they see the wisdom in it, like I said. So I don't push it on them. I think when they turn 18, you know, it's not that 18 is some magical age and all of a sudden they know everything in the world and they don't have to listen to mom and dad, especially if they're in our house. But I think it's a good gauge. I mean, legally they can go out and do what they want. So we try to have them prepared before then so they can make good decisions. And of course, Ricky will be 17 not too long from now, in a month or so. And he is also obviously not involved with anything. Our goal is to not have people involved in any kind of relationship. Our number that we set as a target was 18. We have made provision for the possibility of 17 for a courtship under certain circumstances. However, it's not a guarantee. It really depends, because like I said, courtship for us is preparation for marriage, and how many 17-year-olds are really ready for marriage? You know what I mean? And obviously there's a courtship time, there's an engagement time, so you're talking minimally 18, 19 years old getting married. But even then, that's kind of, you know what I mean? A little iffy about that. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, because Rick and I were 18 and 19. We try to remind ourselves that it can work, and we try not to be harder on our children than we would want someone to be on us. But we do have ideals, and we try to work within those. But both of our boys have had college degrees. Brian had a college degree at 17 and was working full-time. And in theory, he was better set up at 17 than we were at 30. You know, I mean, he had money in the bank and a car paid for in cash, and even though he doesn't drive, he owns the truck that I drive is Brian's. So, you know, we have all of this. He has all of this stuff that he in theory could go out and start his own family and do the things that he needs to do in theory, and be better off than a lot of adults that are actually involved in marriages. But he's still not really ready in the full sense, and we really like them to have the fullness of their youth and just actually have all of their education and be really ready before they head out and do that. And that's because, not because we're trying to limit our children, but because we love them. You know, we want what's best for them. We want them, we know how hard we struggled, and we want them to not have that same struggle. Of course, with Brianna, she is nowhere near contemplating anything like that, because she is only 13 years old. So But it's funny because, you know, at 13, some girls her age who have different, you know, their families have different ideas, they are thinking about things like that. And I'm not saying she's not thinking about it, but some of them are actually having their boyfriends at 13. And Brianna's just not into that. You know, I think she likes thinking about it because she's a girl and she likes the, you know, like the Disney movies and things like that. But at the same time, she has older brothers. So it's not like the mystery of a young man. She knows what guys are. So it's like, I don't want a gross guy around, really. So anyway, so those are our rules for dating. I don't really think they're rules. I think they're more standards or guidelines. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, I guess, but it's kind of not. You know, we are going to enforce to a degree, but I don't think we're standing like ogres over our kids insisting anything. I think we're just trying to protect them like most parents. And we don't feel the need to conform to what society does with their teenagers. I mean, I know a lot of people do different things, and a lot of people are doing different things, and I know a lot of people would think that maybe we're sheltering them too much. I don't think they're really sheltered. They go to public colleges. They know what's going on. Everybody's just choosing to do the way that we've kind of trained them, and I think that that's a good choice. I'm glad that we trained them that way young, so it wasn't a concern when they got older. So anyway, those are the questions about our home. It's really ended up to be about the same length video as the one yesterday. So I'll try to make tomorrow's. Well, tomorrow will be Worthy Wednesday, and then I'll get back to the Q&A on Thursday. But anyway, you guys have a great day. Thank you for paying attention to my Q&A questions. I'm sorry I'm making it so many videos, but there was a lot of questions, and I'm trying to get to them all. So I will see you tomorrow, and you guys have a great day. Bye.